Let's paint a picture that might feel uncomfortably familiar. 5 years ago, you were making $42,000 a year. You were living in a small apartment with a radiator that hissed too loud, driving a used Honda Civic with a dent in the bumper. You remember thinking, if I could just hit $70,000, I'd be set. I'd finally feel comfortable. I could breathe. Fast forward to today, you got the promotions, you navigated the office politics, you landed the better job. You're now making $85,000, double what you used to make. You upgraded the apartment, you got the newer car. You go out to dinner without checking the prices on the right side of the menu. And yet, here you are, feeling the exact same financial phantom limb pain you felt when you were making $42,000. Actually, if you're honest, you feel more stressed. The stakes are higher, the bills are larger, and the craziest part? You're already thinking, if I could just hit $120,000, then I'll finally be safe. My name is David, and I spend my time studying the intersection of neurobiology and personal finance. Today, we aren't just talking about budgeting. We are talking about the architecture of desire, the hidden psychological machinery that ensures you're never satisfied. Kindly subscribe to learn more about the hidden hacks of finance psychology, because once you understand how this machine works, you can finally step off. To understand why your $85,000 salary feels like barely getting by, we have to look at the hardware. Your brain was not designed for your happiness. It was evolved for your survival. In the Pleistocene era, more was the only metric that mattered. More berries meant you didn't starve in winter. More status meant you got the best meat from the hunt. Consequently, your brain developed a mechanism called hedonic adaptation, the dopamine deception. Most people believe that dopamine is the pleasure molecule. That is a fundamental misunderstanding. Dopamine is the anticipation molecule. It is the chemical of more. When you get a raise, your brain's ventral striatum floods with dopamine. For about 90 days, you are on a high. The new leather seats in the car smell better. The higher ceilings in the apartment feel like freedom. But then, a process called neural recalibration begins. Your brain decides that this new level of comfort is now the minimum baseline for survival. Think about it like a thermostat. If you turn the heat up to 72 degrees, it feels warm for a minute, but soon you don't notice the heat anymore. You only notice when it drops to 70 degrees. The 1978 lottery study, The Cold Hard Truth. Psychologists Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell coined the term hedonic treadmill after studying lottery winners. They found that within a year of winning millions, these individuals were no happier than people who had never won anything. In fact, many were miserable because they had lost the ability to enjoy small pleasures. They had blown out their dopamine receptors. When you upgrade your lifestyle, you aren't just buying things. You are raising the price of your own happiness. You are literally paying money to make it harder for your brain to feel joy. Why is a millionaire in Manhattan often more stressed than a middle-class worker in a small town? It comes down to relative deprivation. Humans are hierarchical animals. We don't measure our wealth in absolute dollars. We measure it against our reference group. The Harvard experiment. A famous study asked participants, would you rather earn $50,000 while everyone else earns $25,000 or $100,000 while everyone else earns $200,000? The majority chose the $50,000. They would literally choose to be half as rich as long as they were better than their peers. When you get that big promotion, you unconsciously change your reference group. You move to a nicer neighborhood. You join a better gym. Suddenly, you aren't comparing yourself to the person making $42,000 anymore. You're comparing yourself to the guy next door who just bought a $90,000 SUV. This is the invisible social tax. Every time you climb the ladder, the cost of belonging goes up. You are running as fast as you can just to stay in the same relative social position. In economics, there's a law called the law of diminishing marginal utility. It states that the first unit of consumption brings the most joy, and every unit after that brings less. Let's apply this to your life. The first $40,000 is survival wealth. It buys you food, a roof, and safety. Its utility is 10 out of 10. The next $40,000 is comfort wealth. It buys you a better bed, a reliable car, and health insurance. Its utility is 6 out of 10. The next $40,000 is status wealth. It buys you a designer watch, a premium car, and expensive dinners. Its utility is 2 out of 10. The tragedy of the treadmill is that most people trade their time, which has infinite marginal utility, for status wealth, which has almost zero marginal utility. If you're working 60 hours a week to move from 100K to 150K, you're trading 20 hours of your life every week for a unit of happiness that is 80% less potent than the units you earned at the start of your career. It is, quite simply, a bad trade. The arrival fallacy and the end of history illusion. There's a psychological trap called the arrival fallacy, the illusion that once we reach a certain goal, we will reach a permanent state of arrived. We tell ourselves, once I pay off the house, I'll be happy. Once I have $1 million in the bank, I'll relax. But happy is not a destination. It is a biological state that is designed to be temporary. If you were permanently happy, you would have no motivation to improve, to build, or to protect. The end of history illusion. Psychologists have found that humans are very good at remembering how much they've changed in the past, but they are terrible at predicting how much they will change in the future. We think the person we are now is the finished product. We buy a house today thinking, this is my forever home. But 3 years from now, a new you will inhabit that house. A you that is adapted to the space, bored with the view, and looking for the next upgrade. You are making permanent financial decisions based on temporary emotional states. The systemic engineering of your discontent. It's not all in your head. You're living in an economy that is scientifically engineered to keep you on the treadmill. If everyone woke up tomorrow and decided they had enough, the global economy would collapse. Our GDP-based system requires aggregate demand, which is a fancy way of saying it requires you to be perpetually dissatisfied with what you currently own. The Instagram mirror. Every time you open your phone, you are being bombarded with the highlight reels of people in the top 0.1% of the wealth bracket. Your brain, which evolved to compare you to a tribe of 150 people, now compares you to 8 billion people. You are no longer trying to keep up with the Joneses. You are trying to keep up with the Kardashians. This is a game you are mathematically guaranteed to lose. So, how do we stop? We can't change our biology, but we can change the architecture of our lives. Here are the 4 hacks to step off the treadmill. Hack 1. The lifestyle anchor. Most people treat a raise as an upgrade permit. If they make 10K more, they spend 10K more. You need to set a hard lifestyle ceiling. Decide that at X dollars, your life is complete. Any dollar earned above that ceiling is not spending money, it is freedom money. Freedom money isn't used to buy things, it's used to buy time. It's used to buy the ability to say no to a boss you don't like or a job that stresses you out. Hack 2. Practice premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. The Stoics had a secret for beating hedonic adaptation. Instead of imagining what you want, spend 5 minutes a day vividly imagining losing what you already have. Imagine your car being stolen. Imagine your apartment burning down. Imagine your salary being cut back to $42,000. When you return to your actual life after this exercise, you experience a synthetic dopamine hit. Your current life suddenly feels like a prize you just won, rather than a baseline you're bored with. Hack 3. The wait and wait rule. Before any purchase over $500, you must wait 30 days. This allows the emotional dopamine spike to subside. After 30 days, ask yourself, does this purchase increase my time, my health, or my skills? If it only increases your status, delete it. Status is a depreciating asset. Hack 4, selective extravagance. Don't be a miser, but don't be a generalist. Most people are moderately expensive across their entire lives. They have a moderately expensive car, house, clothes, and food. Instead, be ruthlessly cheap on 90% of things so you can be unapologetically extravagant on the 10% that actually brings you joy. If you love travel, fly business class, but drive a 10-year-old Toyota. If you love food, eat at Michelin star restaurants, but live in a studio apartment. By being weird with your money, you break the social comparison loop. The ultimate escape from the treadmill is understanding the difference between rich and wealthy. Rich is having a high income and the stuff to show for it. Rich people are often the busiest, most stressed people on the treadmill because they have to run fast to maintain their high burn rate. Wealthy is having the time to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. The Time Wealth Study, a 2017